Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Wednesday, April 12th, Planning Board meeting pursuant to the open meeting bylaw. Any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any media. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. The City Charter, Section 9-18 mandates that all multiple member bodies develop and adopt rules or policy for public comment. We have adopted such a policy which in short provides for citizens' input on planning board specific matters at the end of the meeting. There's a sign-up sheet that's located in the back of the room if anybody is interested. Going to do roll call. Gloria Pacheco.
Present.
Beth Andre.
Present.
Mario Luciola.
Here.
Mike Farias.
Present.
And I, John Ferrer, am present as well. Also with us, we have Nina Kruger, the administrative clerk, Dan Aguiar, the city engineer, Chris Perreno, the assistant planner, and Greg Salvador with Forever TV. We're going to go with the first on the agenda under old business, which is roadway reconstruction, Wood Street, Section 66-185, City Ordinance, considering the roadway reconstruction plan and profile of the Wood Street extension.
Mr. Chairman, we've received correspondence from the applicant again, who has now hired a new engineer. He was not getting any response from his previous engineer trying to get revised plans. So I would recommend that the matter be tabled to allow him the ample time to submit new revised plans.
Anything from the board members? Do we have a motion to table? Motion by Beth Andre, second.
Second.
By Mario. Roll call. Gloria?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I myself vote yes as well on the tabling of Wood Street. Next is number 2 is a repetitive petition by Kevin Olivera, 334 Vale Street, map E-01, lot 50. In accordance with MGL, which is Mass General Law, C-40A, 16, and 86 to 487 of the Fall River zoning bylaw, the applicant requests that the Fall River Planning Board make a determination that the submitted proposal contains specific and material changes in the conditions for which unfavorable action had previously been taken by the Fall River Zoning Board of Appeals. On June 9th, 2022, the applicant was denied a zoning variance to allow the subject 6,758 square foot property into 2 lots, leaving the existing 5-family dwelling on a 3,100 square foot lot and the existing commercial building on a 3,658 square foot lot. The board found that the petitioner had not produced sufficient evidence that the proposal met the prerequisites for the granting of a variance. This property is located in the B-L, which is local business zoning district. The current variance petition requests permission to divide the subject property into 2 lots, building lots, leaving the existing non-conforming 5-family dwelling on a 3,224 square foot lot and the existing commercial building, which will be converted to a residence on a 3,534 square foot lot. It is of the applicant's opinion that these proposed material changes warrant the ability to appear before the Fall River Zoning Board of Appeals for the purpose of rehearing the petition.
And before we get started, just so that we can all be on the same page again, just, I know you don't look at these all the time, but we've got 4 of these this evening, I believe. So when the petition comes before you like this, you are not being asked to vote on the merit of the petition, whether or not it makes sense, whether it complies with zoning or anything else. It was denied by the Zoning Board of Appeals for a specific reason and for a specific purpose of what the relief was being requested. All you need to look at today is what is now submitted. Is it substantially different for those reasons that it was denied? Very simple, very narrow scope, not does it comply with this, comply with that? Nope, just as the new petition substantially different than the previous one. And I know you all know that, but just to refresh everyone's memory. Also, repetitive petitions do require a supermajority vote. So a vote of 4 in favor is what is required. Even though a majority of 3 to 2 may be the vote, that would not pass. So we need 4 out of the 5 members of the board for these items to pass. That's all.
Okay. Please state your name.
Good evening. For the record, Jeff Tallman from Northeast Engineers and Consultants here tonight on behalf of Kevin Olivera, the petitioner on this request for rehearing. You basically stole my presentation there. I was going to go over all those details, but you summed it up quite well. What we're looking to do here, just to kind of recap, is back in June, this property was denied a variance to subdivide the property into 2 lots and, utilize the existing commercial building on Lot 2. I think the issue that the board had at that time is the commercial building is vacant. There's no tenant there. There was, less than a year ago, well, maybe over a year ago now, there was a home improvement company that ran out of there. And initially, there was a variance granted for this site back in 1989 to allow, actually, the petition that we were seeking, the division of the property into 2 lots and the creation, at that time, it was going to be a pet grooming business in the commercial building. That was granted. The problem was the applicant or the owner of the property at the time never followed through with the Form A plan to divide the property. So, back in June, we filed for a similar, variance, but again, I think the hang-up with the board was the commercial building was vacant and they weren't sure what was going in there. And the owner of the property is not sure. So basically, what we decided to do at that point is, he was looking to make additional residential units in the existing dwelling. I told him that was not a possibility, so he's looking at this building in the back to create 1 additional residential unit on the property. It would then be subdivided, as shown on the plan, but the change that we're looking for is changing the rear building from a commercial building, commercial use, to a single-family residential dwelling unit. So, be happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Any questions by board members?
I can add that at the zoning board of appeals meeting, as Jeff stated, one of the concerns was, what is this commercial use going to be, and what are the parking requirements going to be for that supposed use? And since that couldn't be nailed down, they decided that their relief could not be granted. The plan presented before you today, again, is for residential use. They have provided 2 off-street parking spaces, so they still have to go through the zoning board of appeals process to make this happen. Again, you're just allowing that to happen now, rather than having to wait the 2-year period from the date of the denial.
Anything from the board? I mean, I see, obviously, switching that from commercial to residential is big. I mean, that's a big change in itself, and I can understand the hesitancy and not knowing what kind of commercial was going to be there. I see the 2 off-street parking spots that have been added. Do I have a motion?
Audience first?
Huh?
Ask the audience.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is anybody else here for this, for Vale Street? No. Oh, you are? Okay. Could you, would you like to speak, or?
No, I'm just here.
All right. Do I have a motion to,
I see substantial material changes, so I'll make a motion to accept.
motion by Mario to present this back to the zoning board?
I second the motion.
Gloria second. Roll call, Gloria?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I, John Ferrera, vote yes as well. So that will be sent back. Thank you, Mr. Tallman. Are you staying for the next one, too?
Next,
Next
year.
3?
Yes. Filling in for Peter Salino on the 4th.
Oh, that's right, he's on vacation.
He's on vacation.
Okay, so we've got number 3, under old business, another repetitive petition, Janet Harrison, 18 Holland Street, map T-21, lot 30, in accordance with Mass General Law, C-40A, 16 and 86 to 487 of the Fall River zoning bylaw. The applicant requests that the Fall River Planning Board make a determination that the submitted proposal contains specific and material changes in the conditions for which unfavorable action had previously been taken by the Fall River Zoning Board of Appeals. On September 15, 2022, the applicant was denied A zoning variance to allow the division of the subject property into 3 buildable, building lots. In the process, demolishing the existing single-family dwelling, the board found that the petitioner had not produced sufficient evidence that the proposal met the prerequisites for granting a variance. This property is located in S, which is single-family zoning district. The current variance petition requests permission to divide the subject property into 2 building lots, leaving the existing non-conforming single-family dwelling on a conforming lot, building lot, and creating new substandard building lot having an area of 10,050 square feet with 70-foot frontage on Holland Street. It is of the applicant's opinion that these proposed material changes warrant the ability to appear before the Florida Zoning Board of Appeals for the purpose of rehearing the petition. Mr.
I have nothing to add on this one.
Huh?
I have nothing to add on this one.
Mr. Tallman?
Again, for the record, Jeff Tallman, Northeast Engineers and Consultants, here on behalf of Janet Harrison, the applicant or the petitioner on this request. The change that we made here, just to give you a little history with this site, at the time when we filed the zoning variance, Mrs. Harrison was in a nursing home. She was looking to possibly do something with the property. She's lived here her whole life. But the house was not ADA accessible. And she was doing some rehab in the nursing home, and she wanted it to be, basically what she was looking to do was to raise the existing house and to offset that cost of building a new house by creating a 3rd lot. The zoning board, long story short, zoning board obviously denied the application request. So what we're here for tonight is, what we're presenting tonight is, and again, the issue with the zoning board at that time is we were creating 3 non-conforming lots. They were all substandard lots. The application, the petition that we're looking to move forward with now keeps the house on a conforming lot. That would meet the requirements of the S zoning district, and the only thing we'd be doing with the remaining land is creating a substandard lot. So with this petition, we would not be raising the house. We'd be maintaining the house on the lot with the outbuildings, the sheds in the back, the driveway, all that would remain on Lot 1, and we'd be creating a substandard lot 2. But with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I've got a question. On the Lot 1 that you're showing there, you have Lot 1 and Lot 2 on the old plan. Is that currently, or was that what you were proposing?
That's what we were proposing initially that got denied.
Okay.
So the old plan was the variance plan that got denied by the ZBA with the 3 lots on it.
So you're just looking on the new plan for Lot 1 to be that one single lot, and then Lot 2
Yeah, I
to
mean,
be
the
a subdivision?
the
Okay.
ZBA takes issue when you take a conforming lot and you create, in this case, 3 substandard lots out of it, and, it just becomes problematic. With the new request, we're maintaining Lot 1 as a standard, as a conforming lot.
Conforming lot.
Just
Okay.
creating the one substandard lot.
Thank you.
Anybody in the audience here for this, for Holland Street? No one? Any other questions from the board?
Make a motion, we approve.
Motion by Gloria,
Second.
second by Mike. Roll call, Gloria,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Mario,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I, John Ferrer, vote yes as well on this repetitive petition. Next, number 4, another repetitive petition, Tetra Real Estate LLC, 246 Beatty Street, map L-10, lot 9, in accordance with Mass General Law, C-40A, 16 and 86 through 487 of the Fall River zoning bylaw. The applicant requests that the Fall River Planning Board make a determination that the submitted proposal contains specific and material changes in the conditions for which unfavorable action had previously been taken by the Fall River Zoning Board of Appeals. On October 20th, 2022, the applicant was denied a zoning variance, to allow the division of the subject property into 2 lots, leaving the existing 3-family dwelling on 1 lot and constructing a new 2-family dwelling on the new lot. The board found that the petitioner had not produced sufficient evidence that the proposal met the prerequisites for the granting of a variance. This property is located in an M, which is multifamily zoning district. The current petition requests permission to construct a new two-family dwelling on the property, structurally connecting it to the existing three-family dwelling, resulting in the creation of a single five-family dwelling on the property. Five-family dwellings are an allowed use in the M zoning district, and the subject property has sufficient area and frontage to support the structure. However, relief is being requested for side yard and rear yard setbacks, as well as lot coverage. It is of the applicant's opinion that these proposed material changes warrant the ability to appear before the Fall River Zoning Board of Appeals for the purpose of rehearing the petition. Mr. Aguirre?
So again, I know at the time of the zoning board of appeals hearing, the issue that the zoning board of appeals had was the proximity to the proposed new lot line of both structures, the need for additional off-street parking as well. So Mr. Tolman can give his presentation with regards to
Mr. Tolman?
how
Good
those
evening.
items have been addressed.
For the record, Jeff Tallman, Northeast Engineers and Consultants. Just to add on to that, again, this is similar in a sense to the last one where we were taking a conforming lot and making it non-conforming, or making two non-conforming lots out of it and creating constructing a new two-family dwelling. The current application does not propose to divide the property at all. What we're looking to do is basically construct a two-family dwelling that we were looking to, and then that would be structurally connected to the existing three-family to form one structure on the property that would have 5 units in it. Again, this is something that's allowed by right in the zoning district. The relief we're seeking here would be setback relief, whereas before, again, there was a ton of relief that we were asking for. At this point, we're just looking for rear and, I believe it's rear and side setback for the new addition. And, the one thing I would like to note, not that it's important to this board for this hearing, is that there is an existing 5-stall garage at the rear of the property that's only like 1.7 feet off of the rear property line and about 2 feet off of the sideline. With our new structure that we'd be adding to, with those particular lot lines, we'd be maintaining 7 feet at the rear as opposed to the 11 feet to the rear as opposed to the 1.7, and 6 on the side as opposed to the 2. So, in my opinion, there's been substantial changes on this one that would warrant, would give us the ability to go back to the zoning board of appeals.
Anybody here for Beatty Street as well, in the audience? No? Any comments or questions by the board members?
No.
I personally don't live too far from the area, so I scouted this area pretty well. But I can see the substantial change in what you try to, what they try to achieve. So I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mario, second.
Second.
By Beth. Roll call, Gloria?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes,
Mike?
Yes.
And I, John Ferrera, vote yes as well on this petition. Number 5, the last repetitive petition. Scotty Viveras, care of attorney Peter A. Salino, 15 Anderson Street, map D-06, lot 16. In accordance with Mass General Laws, C-40A, 16 and 86 to 487 of the Fall River zoning bylaw, the applicant requests that the Fall River Planning Board make a determination that the submitted proposal contains specific and material changes in the condition for which unfavorable action had previously been taken by the Fall River Zoning Board of Appeals. On December 15, 2022, the applicant was denied zoning relief to divide the property location into 2 lots, leaving the existing dwelling on 1 non-conforming lot, creating a second non-conforming lot. The current petition requests permission to divide the property location in a manner that will leave the existing home on a conforming lot and create a new lot for which the only nonconformities are frontage and area. This property is located in an S single-family zoning district. Mr. Aguirre?
No, nothing to add on this, very similar, I believe, to the,
Yeah.
probably to the first one, or the second one, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Tolman?
Good evening, for the record, Jeff Tallman, Northeast Engineers and Consultants. I'm filling in tonight for Peter Salino, who filed this request with the board. So basically, just to go over the changes that were made, It's similar in a sense to the second hearing tonight, where we have a conforming lot. The variance that was denied initially by the ZBA was to create 2 non-conforming lots out of that. That was the issue that they had, it's my understanding at the time. So this particular petition is, they revised where the lot line would be located. The existing house would remain on a conforming lot, and what they're seeking to do is to create 1 substandard lot where they would build a new house on it. So the fact that, there's no longer 2 non-conforming lots, that they're keeping lot 1 conforming and just creating 1 substandard lot as opposed to 2, to me, signifies a significant change.
Thank you. And from the board on this?
All I say on this one is that you're basically making 1 lot conforming, and actually the layout of the building itself doesn't really change, or the parking, but the reality of it is it's substantial enough to go in front of the zoning again.
Yeah, and I should note, I was handed a revised plan by the applicant tonight, because they realized, reviewing this, that there was 1 nonconformity that was left on lot 1 being lot coverage. So they've addressed that on this revised plan. I can submit a couple of copies, of how many would you need?
What's the location of where did it change?
The, you know where the lot coverage, where that 200 feet was?
Yeah, it was the driveway.
Was the driveway. So
Okay.
are you reducing the size of the driveway?
Yeah.
Bringing it, yeah. So it's a reduction in the driveway to bring it, so it's conforming to lot coverage requirements as well,
On the second lot or the first lot?
on the first lot.
On the
So the
first
first lot.
Yep.
The idea being, it would be entirely
Completely
conforming.
under conforming.
It was realized after the fact that it was over by less than 1%. So
Yeah.
in order to bring it into conformance, they're gonna eliminate a portion, a small section of the driveway.
We'll take one.
Yeah, I think it shows on there.
It's not gonna look much different from the plan that was filed, the new plan that you have up on the screen.
Dan, did you get a copy?
I did not. I'm looking.
You can have this
This
one.
is the revised one?
Yeah. Just looks like this one's there.
Just a portion of the
That's
driveway.
what
Oh,
it was
okay, so you just
originally,
pulled it.
so they just made it a little bit.
Yeah, again, something like that, that's really more for the zoning board of appeals to deal with when specifically.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any comments by the board? No? If not, do we have a
Substantially
motion
changed.
to, Mike makes a motion to submit this repetitive petition back to zoning. Do we have a second? Huh?
Any citizen input?
No. Anybody here? No, it was just one.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody second? Mike?
I second Mike's motion.
Okay, so I got, Mike made a motion, Gloria seconded. Roll call, Gloria?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes,
Mike?
Yes.
And I, John Ferraro, vote yes as well on this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tallman. You don't look like Peter Salino, but that's all right.
Enjoy your vacation.
Next, we have the approval of the minutes of the meeting from February 8th. Everybody have a copy? We have a motion.
I want to sustain, I wasn't here.
Mike, yes, Mike wasn't here for that one.
was I here? Yeah.
I was here, I'll motion. To approve the minutes.
Second, I was here,
Yeah, you were here.
Yeah.
So Beth made a motion to accept the minutes. Do I have
A second.
Second. So Beth first, motion, and Mario second. Roll call, Gloria.
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Mario,
Yes,
and myself, yes, and Mike will abstain. He was not on the board at the time. Now we're gonna go to the new business. Number one, it's a surety reduction. Briarwood Lane, review and discuss surety reduction requests for Highland Farms 2, Briarwood Lane.
So, board members, as you recall, a number of years ago, you approved a definitive subdivision plan for Highland Farms Phase 2, not Phase 1, Phase 2. It had a number of streets, 4 in total. there was one street called Briarwood Lane, that portion of the development is being constructed by a different developer than the main portion. So the request has come in from AIS Development, which basically is Ken Steen, with regards to a request to reduce the amount of surety that had been posted through a letter of credit for the work to be completed in the subdivision. In your packet, you should have his breakdown list of what he is requesting for a reduction. The actual subtotal, he is asking for a reduction, which basically means credit for all the things that he's already completed, in the amount of $362,949 even. We had sent this back out to the consultant for review, and also myself. We'd gone through some of the numbers. I do believe a few of the numbers that he's asking for full credit reduction on should only be partials. And if you see the cover letter that I have submitted, a few of those items are the siltation control throughout the subdivision. That's an ongoing condition that, needs to be updated often, so I've asked that only $2,500 be a reduction. The infiltration basins, he's requesting 40,000 square feet to be reduced, to be let go. I'm recommending only $30,000 because a portion of a drainage swale on the site has not been completed, so we're gonna hold some money back for that. Some of the loam and seeding of the basins, again, not until lawn is completely fully established on these drainage structures would I be comfortable allowing it to be released, or till we were done saying that the thing is not fully constructed. So we're saving some money on that one. Underground electric, everything has been installed. System has not yet been energized by the utility company. So until that happens, we don't know, yes, everything's installed, but does it work? So an electrical system is, once it's energized, right now it's pipe and wire in the ground. So that doesn't do much good for us. So I've recommended, let's get a little bit of a different reduction on that. And then again, inspectional fees is an ongoing item that I feel it's appropriate to release 5,000 square feet. So that at the end of the day, we would be approving a reduction in the amount of $330,227, where $362,949 was requested. What that basically equates to is a new letter of credit in the amount of $126,244.80 is what will need to be posted. And that is basically $105,204 plus a 20% contingency fee. That equates to the $126,244. So we would ask that you would move this and require that the new surety amount be reduced by into a letter of credit of that $126,244.80.
Any questions by the board members?
Yeah, thank you very much for taking a look at that, and considering the costs have gone so high in the past few years, plus inflation continues to increase. I'm glad you scrutinized this, and I agree, the 105 plus 20% is the least we could do for the letter of credit. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just so that you know, and I'm sure Mike knows very well, you never hold enough money back. You never do. However, if the original surety letter is based upon, completing X, and X has been completed, you have to release those funds. You can't say, well, the final payment's now gonna cost us twice, so now I wanna hold that money. No, a specific amount of money was being held at the beginning for that task. So it's very task-related, so when, if one task is completed, we have to release that, even though we know there may not be enough money to complete a different task that hasn't even started yet. So we try and help where we can, and these developers understand the need for contingencies. It should probably be a 40% contingency, but past practice has been 20%, and in the original letter of credit calculation, 20% is the number that the board used.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I feel completely comfortable with these numbers,
Yep.
especially these areas that, not having the underground electric energized yet. That's a huge opportunity, and I guess everything else looks pretty good here, so. But I think your professional opinion on this is great.
They're actually just waiting for National Grid. They've been waiting for months.
To
They actually,
energize
they
it.
actually have houses completed, and they can't.
Get energy.
They can't get occupancy permits until National Grid comes out and basically flips the switch.
I mean, and it's nothing against the developer, I mean, they did a great job up there. I
Yeah.
mean, there's some beautiful houses up
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I mean, for what was farmland, and you drive through there now, and there's some really nice houses, you know?
Let's get it all done. and be-
Yeah, well,
and
that's
be done
true,
with it, yeah.
but
Great.
a little bit at a time.
Yeah,
With that being said, do I have a recommendation for Mr. Aguirre's amount?
I'll motion to recommend.
The motion by Beth, second,
I'll second.
by Mario. Roll call, Gloria,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Mario,
Yes,
Mike,
Yes.
and I, John, for a vote yes as well on the reduction amount by Mr. Aguirre.
thank you.
Now we're gonna go to a street acceptance. Number 2, this is Hayfield Lane. Request acceptance of Hayfield Lane extending from Highland Farm Road north and south to terminus, referred by City Council on March 14th, 2023.
Again, so just a little bit of history and how the board may want to proceed with dealing with these. Item number 2 for street acceptance of Hayfield Lane, street acceptance for Highland Farm Road, street acceptance for Old Pasture Way, street acceptance for Steep Brook Terrace. Those are the 4 subdivision streets in Highland Farms Phase 1, which 2 months ago, the board voted that the subdivision was deemed complete, released the surety amount. At that point in time, the developer takes that decision, goes to the city council for starting the street acceptance procedure. So what the actual process is, this just happens to be a subdivision, so that first step you've already dealt with, saying everything's complete. The legal process is it goes to the council, because now the city is going to take this on as a public way. They come now and look at you and ask you, what is your recommendation? They don't even look at the fact that you've approved this subdivision, approved that the work's been completed. Everybody goes through the same process. So you may want to take items
2,
2,
3, 4,
3,
5.
4, and 5 as one vote, and that would be all of the streets within Highland Farms 1.
Do I have a motion
I don't know if there's
to
anybody
take
here in the
items?
audience.
I just
Oh,
have, I'm sorry, I just have one question. You guys inspected, like, what you're gonna be taking over from this?
Yes.
I know it was before my time that you voted it was acceptable, but
Yep.
again, after the winter and stuff like that, we've had a
That
pretty
vote,
mild
yeah,
road.
so that vote was just taken, so so
Okay.
it went through a final winter, there were a
Gotcha.
number of punch list items. So, just so you know, the past history.
Yeah.
And a developer is required to submit complete as-built plans.
Okay.
And that was probably 2 years ago, when this process started, when they
Yeah.
completed. And over a year or two, they've, fixed this, fixed that. We had to deal with a bunch of encroachments where people were putting things in drainage easements, so there was a bunch of that to
Yeah.
deal with. Those as-bills have all been completed, the subdivision's been completed, the consultants reviewed it, I've reviewed it, and then that comes before this board to say, okay,
Yep.
are you voting that the subdivision has been constructed in compliance with the approved plan?
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing, because the roads could stay private forever. If the developer
Sure.
chose to keep them and plow
Yep.
them, and then he has the right to
Maintain
do that. But as far as the subdivision goes, we're done.
Okay.
This is now just for the city to take on the responsibility of maintenance, plowing, trash collection for the streets. Yeah.
Is there anybody here for any of the Highland Farms street acceptances? Nope. So now do I have a motion to take items 2, 3, 4, and 5 together?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mario, second,
I second the motion.
Gloria. Roll call, Gloria,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Mario,
Yes,
Mike,
Yes.
and I, John Ferrari, yes as well. Now we need an approval to, on a street acceptance. We just made a motion to accept, to take all 3 out of, together. Do I have a motion to, for the street acceptance for all 3 in order to send this back to city?
All 4.
4.
All 4, sorry,
of
all
them,
4,
yeah.
I had one on the other page. All 4 to go back to city council.
I'll motion.
Beth motion,
I second.
Mike second. Roll call, Gloria?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Mario?
yes,
Mike?
Yes.
And I, John Ferrero, yes as well. So items 2, 3, 4, and 5 will be going back to the city council for their approval. Okay, item number 6, street acceptance, Wayland Street. Request acceptance of Wayland Street extending from North Main Street to the dead end, referred by city council on March 14th, 2023. Ms. Aguirre.
So unlike a subdivision street, this is an existing private way, an unaccepted city street, which there are many in the city. And basically what that means is that the city does not plow. Sometimes they do as a courtesy, especially in emergency events, but they're not required for any roadway maintenance, any parking enforcement, snow, trash for the most part. But sometimes that line gets a little bit blurred because the city does go beyond what it should be doing in many cases. So there is a petition that had been submitted directly to the city council, and that's the process that it takes. So when there are a number of citizens in the city, anyone has the ability to file a petition and submit paperwork to the council requesting that a private way be accepted and then become city's property, then responsible for the city to take on. So when they submit that, the petition goes through the elections office to verify that at least 10 legal voters of the city of Fall River have put their names on this petition. That's how the process starts. That process was completed. Then the city council looks at it and makes the determination preliminarily, is this something they would entertain? And if it is, they then send it again here for a recommendation. So all they're asking for today is a recommendation from you, whether or not they should accept the way and take ownership and maintenance and all of those types of things. So I know you deal with quite a few of these, but that's the limited scope that comes before you. So on this list, you know, I think you all have a copy of it. You'll see the abutters list, that abutters list. And part of the process, again, is the abutters list that you see behind the list of signatures. A notification goes out to all of the owners of any property on the street. That list is generated by the assessor's office, and mailing goes out in accordance with the most recent tax records that the city has. And that's the list that the city council utilizes and that we utilize as well. So all those mailings did go out, as you see, and it's here before you today.
Do we have anybody here for Wayland Street acceptance? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, well, we're gonna need, I mean, we've got.
Who would like to speak? Does anybody want to speak?
All right, what we're gonna do is.
Yeah,
I'm just-
everybody's gonna have a
Everybody's
chance.
gonna have a turn to talk.
Okay, but one person is not a registered voter, so she shouldn't be speaking.
Well, I mean,
I
that's
was told
on
not
this,
to be a registered voter.
to be on this
That's
list.
fine.
Right, to be on this list, but this is a public hearing where anybody can speak.
Oh, okay.
Whether or not they have legal grounds to speak, that's to be determined at another
That's not
time.
what I was told, but okay, go
No,
on.
no, on this list, to start this petition, you need to be a registered voter.
I did a petition as well. And that, I was told this couldn't be,
What's that petition for?
This is what they did, what he did, the next door neighbor. I've been there since 1989.
Yeah,
I did a petition that the city hall gave me to petition not to make it a non-accepted street, and I got signatures, and I gave that to city hall as well. And this was denied by the city council.
right, but did you go to the city clerk? Can I see that? I don't.
This is my copy.
That's okay, just let me have a quick look at it. I'm just trying to understand the process.
I've been there since 1989. My parents bought
okay.
the home that way.
Again, you don't even have to live on the street to do this, so.
Yes, I know. That's why I got all these wonderful signatures.
So this was April 11th of this year?
Yeah, I just sent that in.
So this was after this one was done, okay. So this went to the city clerks,
This is theirs. And that's mine.
yep. So you just submitted this to the clerk on April 11th?
I don't know when she sent it.
Well, that's what it says stamped in, April 11th, which is yesterday?
Yesterday.
And,
Yo, did you just submit this yesterday?
I had a conversation with you as well about the other. about-
Listen, one
I
thing at a
apologize.
time, one thing at a time. This petition is stamped in by the clerks, April 11th at 11:34, which I think is yesterday, if I'm correct. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah,
That's correct.
So this has not gone before the city council yet. So they have not had a chance to remand this back here for an opinion. This has to go before the city council.
I'm gonna read it to them.
Doesn't matter if you,
That's
no, it
for
goes
them
to a
do.
meeting.
I'm just showing you that.
Okay, thank you.
And
So,
the other butters for the.
so the city
by Wayne
clerk-
Street were not contacted.
so the city clerk,
There's 4 other butters. in my
one
home.
thing at a time. That petition you filed with the city clerk.
Yes,
That will now go through the process and go to the city council. You made the representation that the city council said no. That has not happened yet, so,
That's what I was told by Brad Kilby. It was denied. That's why they
no.
sent it.
That hasn't even started yet. You just submitted it yesterday.
No, not this one. This one.
Okay.
Did this
All
go in
right,
front of
so
the city council?
let's start with those in favor.
I'm gonna go one at a time. Please come up, state your name and address for the record. And also, everybody keep in mind that we're trying to keep to the specifics of the street acceptance, and you each have 3 minutes under the
Good
bylaws.
evening, my name is Louis Souza. I bought a house
What's your address, Louis?
on 19 Wayland Street.
19
in Fall
Wayland,
River.
okay.
I bought that house for my cousin because I'm gonna be 62. I said, you know, I'm gonna retire, I'm gonna be in a dead-end street, I'm gonna live nice in peace. But you know what? It's not. It's not. It's been like hell. I see policemen every day, every day. I was already called twice, the police on me. I didn't even do nothing that they called me the police. It's okay, it's okay. God watches everything. I got pictures here if you guys wanna look, because I'm sick and tired of this. I'm afraid to go to SI because if I go to SI, the police.
So is the issue that your access through the way is being impeded?
Well, I cannot, nobody can go to SI.
But that's what I'm saying, so
Yeah.
so someone is blocking the way.
Yes.
So you want the city to be
I
able
don't
to
have-
take
I don't
this?
have- yes.
So that access for emergency vehicles and
Yes,
self,
yes,
everything else
yes,
is
yes.
maintained?
I don't have a problem-
So we wanna keep the scope to why we want this street to be accepted.
I want-
No personal issues, not this
No,
one
no,
called or anything else?
I just want the city to take
Access
over.
on the street and the purposes of
Yes, yes.
requesting it to
And
be.
I feel that, I don't have a problem with people driving around my driveway. I had people got going over my grass halfway, but then I look, it's a dead end. They got a sign says dead end. What is a dead end? Can somebody explain to me what is a dead end?
It means there's no turnaround and it's not a through street.
Then it goes, they turn around. I've been in streets that like I got lost, I went to that, oh, I'm lost. I went, I turned around and went back, mind my own business. You know what I'm saying? But over there, if you guys look at the pictures, if you tell me there's nothing wrong with this, then
We've looked at it.
you look at it,
Yeah.
I mean, this gotta stop, I mean, this gotta stop. Today, I come from work, I work like construction, I come from work, I got a guy breaking me, for the fence, cause I'm gonna put in the fence. I parked my car right in front of my house, facing that way. And I'm digging. I'm gonna be 62, digging. The police comes. I says, whoa, again? Last week was because of the barrel. The barrel was on my side, and I be nice.
Yep.
And not this? What's next?
How far from the end, which house is yours? I was there today.
Well, mine is on,
The last one,
yeah.
I have pictures of him
Yeah.
facing the wrong way.
well,
Well, that's why the
One at
police
a
came here
time.
today, I mean, and like I says,
I'm gonna be the last to go.
but like I says, I want the city to take over.
Okay?
Because they go over there, they do the trash. You know what I'm saying? They plow once in a while. You know what I'm saying? If that is private, that's what they keep saying, it's private.
right. So you wanna maintain all the perks of having it be an accepted street, with your trash, your plowing.
Yeah, everything.
So-
Let this, and let's live like in peace, you know what I'm saying? Anybody can turn around, and, you know, people, they make mistakes, oh, I'm sorry, it's that, and.
Right.
But don't be like, hello, somebody's, no, come on.
But understand along with that the city may determine that because the width of the street, it may prohibit parking on the street for
Yes.
everyone. So you will have to park on your private property, otherwise you'll be subject to a fine.
I always
and
park,
ticketing.
I always park in front of my house. I
Not
never
in
park
front
the
of your
road.
house.
In the driveway.
On your private property, on your driveway.
Yeah,
Because if the city takes it over, we need to make sure that it is kept open for
That-
emergency
that
vehicles,
is-
and there would be no parking allowed on that street.
that's
So
one
just
hundred
understand.
percent okay with me, believe me.
Okay.
Believe me, I'm trying to do my best, put in the fast, I'm getting my own business. I don't want no problems, I'm not a troublemaker, believe me.
Okay,
All right, that's all I have to say.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Souza.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Delinda Snell, 33 Wayland Street.
Snell?
Snell.
Number 2 on the list, 33 Wayland.
Same thing. I just want the city to keep doing the trash pickup. They maintain the roads now. I didn't even know, I bought it 6 years ago, I didn't even know it was a private way.
Well, what will happen now is, so the road does need some work relatively soon.
Yeah.
Of course, there are hundreds of streets in the city that need work, but this would give you the ability to potentially get that road resurfaced, repaved, improved, at the city's expense. So that's really the biggest perk of getting, a street accepted.
Right.
Although I don't like to take on streets that I now need to go spend money on pavement, but it is within your rights
Yeah.
to request that to
I just
happen.
want to keep what we have,
Yep,
I don't want to take my trash bin up to North Main Street to.
sure, understood.
Yeah.
Great, thank you for
And
coming.
that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Snell. Anyone else?
I'll let him talk and then I'll go last. I have pictures of
Is there anybody else? No? Okay.
Anybody else?
I think that's it. Dee, just so that you know, when you asked if this one had gone to the city council, the one that's before us, yes, at March 14th of 2023, the city council voted at a hearing to refer this to the planning board. That's how it gets here. So it has gone to the city council. It was filed with the clerk January 18th,
Yeah, I spoke to Brad Kilby.
yep, and then
And
heard
sent
March
it over.
14th, and then was sent down to us, so.
Name and
Process.
address, please.
Yolanda Canara, 5 Wayland Street. One of the first people that, from the house, when they opened that street, we built 3 brand-new homes on Wayland Street. I have pictures, and the retired police officer up at the top of the street that lives on North Main Street.
Yep, I know the house.
You know the house?
That was just
Okay.
there.
He doesn't park 20 feet away from the stop sign, which he's supposed to. I've called the police numerous times and other people. Some people here have talked bad about one another, so now I'm being put here when Louis Souza used to be a friend of mine. And today, when I left, he said that he was parked forward. I have the picture. When
That's
I
fine.
called.
That's fine. I mean,
No, I just.
we're here for substance, that's all. I mean, just.
The street, the cars are going the wrong way. When he has company coming to the house, people going the wrong way. People not parking 20 feet away from the corner. I tried to come down my street again today. I have a camera in my car. It records front and back. I have the pictures and the recording, but I can only do it from my home or from a Wi-Fi to get the.
Right, because you've got a few cameras on the front corner of your house also.
On the top corner or down on my street?
Yours, on your house.
Yeah, I got those cameras because of these people.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm sorry, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I tried to come down my street. Again, his wife in the car, he was in the, out of the car, talking to the person, Delinda Snell, in the middle of the street with his door wide open. I was on the phone with my friend on FaceTime. I mean, people see this. I don't own the street. This is what they're saying. I own the street now. I've been there since 1989. We've never had problems or issues with the Cavallos that bought that house, the original people, and the Monas family that owned that house. And these people have left because of the stuff that goes on Wayland Street. I mean, doing drugs outside our home, having sex, drinking and driving, down,
Yeah,
up
but
and down the
that's not
street.
your neighbors, that's just people pulling
No,
in.
that's just people down there.
General public, yeah.
And like he said about the non-accepted street, what if it does become non-accepted if you guys approve this? It's gonna be worse than what it is now.
So, Dee, what I would say is, do you have reasons why you don't want it to be accepted, like specific reasons that this board?
Why should it be? We get all the services that we've gotten all these years since 1989. When we first moved in here, it was mud. These people weren't there to say, yes, it was. We had to fight and pull teeth with the city council or wherever we went to have that street fixed. And then you have South Coast Rail. It says no parking. I have a sign there that we got from a police officer
saw it.
or somebody. We had that sign put there. People still park there.
I saw it's right next to the
This
fire
company
hydrant.
parks on the other side of the street. South Coast Rail in front of the fire hydrant
Right, so
people.
what will happen is, if it becomes a city street,
The
we
police
can-
are not gonna do anything.
doesn't have to be the police, it can be our traffic enforcement agency.
Laura's not gonna do
So once it
anything.
becomes a city street, it will be monitored, and if no parking signs go up,
I tried to straighten this out with City
I understand,
Hall.
but this is actually the way,
And we had
potentially a way.
conversation also, Dan.
Absolutely, and I think I've been pretty responsive to everything that you asked me to look at.
Okay, you say so, so.
This could potentially be a resolution. I'm not saying that it
It's
will be.
not. It's
but-
not.
but
It's
what's
gonna
be-
make it worse.
but what's
They even
before
wanted to
this
build
board-
houses
but
on
what-
that street.
But what's before this board, it's not police, it's not anything, it's just, is there a reason for them to recommend acceptance? And they're really only here to look at, does it have adequate line, grade, and width to travel, which that it does. It's ultimately up to the city council that accepts it. This vote does not accept the street.
If
This-
people come to our home, where are they gonna park? If you have that, we can't park on the street.
Where do they park now?
Where do they park?
Yeah.
In front of our homes. I was told I
But-
own
but
3
the
to 4
problem-
feet. I was
You actually
told
own to the center line of Wayland Street. All properties do on a private
3
way.
to 4 feet in front of my property. I was told to put cones by Laura and her team,
Okay.
and that's what I did. That's when these people started getting mad, especially the retired
But you
police
can't
officer on
block,
North
but you
Main Street.
can't block people from traveling.
I'm not
You have to
blocking
just-
anyone.
I'm just saying, in general, on a private way.
I don't block
You
anybody.
can't, well, you said they're parking on the street.
No, I'm not saying, if you just turned around, didn't you just turn around and say that you can have no parking on either
If it
side of the
becomes
street?
accepted.
If it comes accepted, yes.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying.
But, well, I mean, I was there and I couldn't get down to the end. I mean, I saw your cones, you got regular cones, tall cones, across we had the sign.
And then I think your
about
car
a
was
fire
parked
hydrant.
actually
And your-
outside of the
Yeah, your
cones.
car was parked outside, I couldn't even get through. So I already knew what was going on, I said, okay, so I just backed up, so I wouldn't have any confrontation, I was thinking you not knowing who it was.
Do you wanna see the pictures?
Excuse me, I have a question. You're
Yeah.
saying that you're having difficulty with quote-unquote, like, monitoring law and order on that street, and that's probably because it's a private way. If we vote to accept this as a public way, as you said earlier, it was not paved. You have to fight the city to pave it. Yes, it's not the city's job to pave it, it's a private way. As Dan said earlier, we now, our taxpayers have to pay to pave.
I'm a taxpayer.
Exactly. But my point is, if this becomes a public way, we now share the burden of putting you on the list to fix your road whenever we get the money through.
Let's be serious,
Excuse
when
me,
are they
can I
gonna fix
finish?
the road?
My point is, if your concern is that right now there isn't any law and order on that street, I think you'd be here petitioning us to accept it as a public way so that you eliminate all of these, as you said, parking on the wrong side and so forth and so on. And you mentioned the services. Right now, you have no right to services. I live in a private way. I don't get any trash pickup. I don't get any snow plowing. I live in a private way in Fall River, and I pay my taxes. So yes, you have to fight for that because you're in a private way. So if you want those services, your neighbors are properly coming before the board, petitioning us to make it a public way. So I think there's a misunderstanding here. Did I get that right, Dan?
No, it's kind of counterintuitive, correct?
Yes,
For the
not-
basis of, and that's why it's, I think a lot of the discussion and thought process really has nothing to do whether or not this road gets accepted or not.
Okay.
That there are, that
Okay.
there are
Okay.
so many things going
Okay.
on that it just happens to be that the street acceptance portion is what's,
But that would help
being
her
aired
case.
now.
That would help her case.
Yes,
with cars going the
theoretically
wrong
it
way,
could.
having
Yeah.
criminal activity.
and that's why it's
everything she
important
mentioned.
that we only look at
Right.
that specific scope of what you're being asked. And you're not being asked to accept this way.
Right.
You're making a recommendation
Right.
with regards to the condition of the street, the line, the width, and the grade, and that it's traversable. That is all. And that condition and that recommendation can say specifically that you feel that it is of adequate width, line, and grade, period.
Thank you.
And the letter that gets sent to the city council, if that's the motion, would be specific to just those items. It's basically saying people can drive up and down this street safely, is what it boils down to, and that we can get nothing to do about parking, or, all that's gonna end up coming later,
Right.
when we have a street that we need to be and have cleared. So traffic will deal with that another time. This is just the piece of land itself, is it okay? Would it be better if it was just paved? There are some municipalities that say, yes, we'll accept it, however, you need to update the construction to current standards so that we don't have to go spend our money. That's not the way Fall River does it. Fall River doesn't want to put that burden on the people that have lived down the street and pay taxes, so we assume the responsibility for putting it on the list to be repaired. Small Street, again, the one that we just did off of President Avenue, there are always these little dead ends that need help construction-wise, yeah.
Anything else, Mrs. Kamara?
All I know, it's a non-accepted registered chapter 82. One says private way, somebody says it's not a private way. It's not accepted, it's accepted. I mean, we've been there since 1989, we own the house. The other butters were not contacted as well.
Who was it? Who wasn't?
Yeah, who wasn't? You got Ghost and Oil on one side, you
There's
got,
Joe Camara, there's Moses Camara, there's Gabriel Camara, and there's Maria Fernandez for 5 Wayland Street.
No, oh, so you're saying owners of 5 Wayland, and we
Yeah.
discussed this, and when, before this process started, I
Yeah,
stated
you
what the
refused.
requirements for notification are. And I asked you on the phone, where would you like me to get the addresses, so just so the board knows, this is a property that is, there are technically 5 or 6 different owners of it, which I think it's Ms. Camara and her family members. So the notification, just like the tax bill, goes to the address that's listed on the assessor's office. So one bill goes out to one person. The other 5, one that lives in Azores, they don't get copies of the tax bills. Any legal notification goes to that address that's on file at the assessor's office.
He
That
should have been notified.
notification was done in accordance with the law.
The assessor's office, that's
That's
what
right.
the rules say, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I can attest to that, thank you.
all right.
Just for point of information, ask her, how wide is that street?
It's about 18 feet now, if I had to guess. I mean, it's not very wide, so if
It's 18
It
feet.
could be a little
That
wider.
street across is 18 feet.
the gravel, like the part that you can actually
From 3 to 4
drive.
feet in front of my home to the other side.
So there's a street right-of-way, which is the actual property boundary limits. Then there's the traveled way that's in between. I believe that's what Mario's question was. It was, how wide is it to travel on, correct?
18 feet,
Is
you
any
said?
sidewalk on both sides of the street?
Excuse me?
Is any sidewalk for people?
No, it's grass
No,
on either
sir.
side.
So the walk
There's
is
no
on the street.
sidewalk, no.
There's only 4 houses.
There's only 4 houses on the street.
Actually, 3.
I had
Right.
elderly
One's on the
parents
corner.
use that street.
There's no curb, there's no, it's just, you know, I think it's actually a few various materials.
The acceptance of the street, in my judgment, is not, is also big safety. Children, people who walk on the street, car who can travel. And I would say, and she's a taxpayer, and the other, all taxpayer, is the responsibility of the city to see the safety of the people. Could be 2 houses, 3 houses, whatever. At this point, right here, I hear you and I hear them, so.
Just to add, I do this for a living, I've been doing it for 35 years. It's very rare that you have a private way transferred over to either a town or a city and have them take on the responsibility of potentially repaving it and also doing the trash and the snow removal. It's a rarity that ever happens.
It's
So
been done since 1989.
Right, what he's saying is
What I'm
that
saying
Fall
is-
I
River,
understand what
yeah,
you're
Fall
saying.
River goes beyond what they should.
They go
what should
beyond,
be,
yeah.
so.
And so all I'm saying is I think there's a compromise here that you can all work out, but
We used to have our
ultimately,
mailboxes up on North Main Street.
well, it's a private way. Now you have your mailbox at your facility. That's what, and
Then
so
they
what
said
you're.
we could move the
Yeah, if the city
mailbox.
ends up
But again,
taking it
you're
over.
lucky, the post
Yeah.
office could have said,
Yeah.
no, we refuse to go down your street specifically because there's not
It's a private
turnaround
way.
They're the ones
and
that
access.
told us to move the
Well, no,
mailbox.
Yeah.
but that's great that they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they accommodated you. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's been accommodated on that road for a while now. Now it's just making it a formality that it is accepted, it is on the register with the city, and this way things can continue. I mean, because people can sit there and complain, say, hey, that's a private way, why are you guys doing that? I mean,
I
but
did
the
my
ci-
petition, so if you
No,
deny
that's
that,
fine. All right, so I guess we're all set. That's, any motion from the board to send this back to the city council?
I make a motion to send the city council, the way you actually
recommendation.
explained.
For their recommendation. I'll give our
For
recommendation.
safety of the people, and the city of Fall River won't be responsible if someone gets tragically hurt on that property and say, where's the city of Fall River?
Okay, motion by Mario, second
Second.
by Beth. Roll call, Gloria,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Mario,
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I, John Ferrera, vote yes as well as far as sending that back to the city council for acceptance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, people. Thanks, folks. All right, well. Okay, number 7, receipt of correspondence. Review and discuss the First Amendment to conformity, activity, and use limitation recorded in accordance with Mass DEP by Boston Environmental Corporation for the property located at 631 Airport Road. Dan?
Basically, just something that the board should just take on file. An activity and use limitation has to do with when contaminated materials are found on a site and it can't be cleaned to a certain degree. The DEP will require that an AUL, activity and use limitations, get filed for the property. And it's basically a legal document recorded at the Registry of Deeds to alert people to know that if you're buying this piece of property, there's this portion of it that has this issue. So these get sent to every different board in the city, as you know, the mayor's office, my office. So it's just something, just alerting you to the fact of it, again, to meet the obligations of Massachusetts General Law to notify you. So I would recommend that you just place on file.
I have a motion
Accept
to
and place
place
on file.
item number 7 on file.
I'll motion to place.
Motion by Beth,
Yep.
second.
I'll second.
Second by Gloria. Roll call, Gloria.
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Mario,
Yes,
Mike.
Yes.
And I, John Ferrero, vote yes as well as to item number 7. Item number 8, receipt of correspondence, review and discuss notice of adjudication and public comment hearing for a petition filed by National Grid with the Department of Public Utilities to modify existing electric transmission line right-of-way that extends from National Grid's Pottersville switching station in Somerset, crossing over the Taunton River into Fall River, and continues easterly to the Sykes Road substation in Fall River.
Yeah, so again, this is basically just an upgrade to their existing systems. The way this works is odd. It gets submitted to us at a certain point in time. So this came in March 16th. They actually, on Thursday, March 30th, they had conducted a remote public comment hearing period where people can go and make comment. So again, this is just a matter of placing it on file. You'll see in your package specifically which areas they're talking about, which would be the crossing of the Taunton River following the existing lines. And Sykes Road is basically the first road that you would see in the industrial park where it comes out to Wilson Road. So right now, there's that transmission station there now where Liberty Utilities is. They bought that lot where, what was the building company that was there before? That did all the Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, no, there was,
Yeah, but whoever that is.
no, I know, it was, they used to be on Shore
They just
Street.
bought that.
Yes.
But,
Yes,
so
yes.
that big substation
Behind,
there, so it's redoing the lines that go to
Right
that.
behind Line Lily up that road.
All those lines are underwater, right? Under the Narragansett, they're crossing over?
Those are the ones that currently cross over,
Okay.
yeah.
And they still are planning on being,
National Grid proposes to separate transmission lines within 1.85, da, da, da. So, yeah, so I think what they're doing is, where they are now, they're breaking them apart in 2 separate areas,
okay.
all still within their easements. The project will cross the Taunton River. As part of the project, National Grid will also conduct
Homeland
some
Builders.
construction work. That's it, Homeland Builders, yeah. Did you have to look it up, or did you?
No, I just,
There you go.
it was
Yeah,
traffic
the only reason
crazy.
I say that is that
I had to think of it.
when we did the upgrade for the one that's going over now, we had those huge,
The wide poles.
the wide
that are
poles
there,
and stuff
yes.
like that, and then they brought it down to that to make it more acceptable for the developers on the waterfront.
Gotcha.
So I'm just wondering if they're proposing anything over there that's above grade, and if they are, then they would just have to match in kind
What's there?
what's out there now instead of those big monstrosities that they had before. Because there's future possibility of development in and around that area.
Yeah,
Just a
again, I
thought.
mean, it would have been great if they gave it to us ahead of time where you
Yeah.
could have possibly made public comment or
Sure.
gone to watch that part of the meeting, but by all means, it's in your packet.
Yeah. I did look at the Google Earth, and I didn't see anything
Yeah.
overhead, so I was assuming it was under, but I'm not 100% sure that proposed is under or above, so that's the only comment that I would
All right,
have.
so right here, the lines currently cross the Taunton River. The project will require the installation of 2 300-foot tall river crossing structures one on each side of the Taunton River. The river crossing structures require additional real estate easements that the company also secured, so it already is above ground, they're staying above ground.
Okay.
All right, do I have a motion to place item number 8 on file?
I just wanted to say,
Whoop.
if you wanted to do written comments, they're gonna be submitted, until April 18th.
Okay.
Okay. Now, do I have a motion to accept item number 8?
Motion to accept.
Motion by Beth, second
I'll second.
by Mario. Roll call, Gloria?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes, I would put in the caveat, I will actually follow up with a written comment to them to find out. That way, we're not tying anybody's hand who's doing potential development in and around that area, so.
Awesome. And I vote, John Ferraro vote yes as well on placing this on file, and Mike following up on the, on this as well. Number 9, another receipt of correspondence. Review and discuss waterways license application submitted to the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection by Prismian Cables and Systems USA LLC to install a range of navigational light in the Taunton River to provide marine pilots illumination, wayfinding, as well as additional safety measures.
So as some of you may or may not know, Brayton Point Power Plant is currently going under a permitting process for the construction of a facility owned by Prismian Cables, it's an Italian company, and they produce the underwater cables for all of the wind projects that will be going on around here. Part of their process, which is pretty cool, the whole process that they've done, I think they probably have 5 or 6 different plants, I mean, all over the world, so this is, you know, pretty cool that it's gonna be across the way. So part of that is they have specific maritime needs for their ships when they come in and when they dock, to go in a certain direction, a certain angle, to pull up to the actual deep water port. So Somerset's doing a whole bunch of permitting because they're building it there. They had to appear before the Conservation Commission, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. They are proposing to install a navigational light, and I thought this was the coolest thing in the world. So, you know, I've been on small boats before, but something this big, what these boats do is when they come in, there's going to be a light that's just off, I think like 300 feet off the shores of Kennedy Park. And there's others on land for them. So when these ships come in, the pilots, they maneuver the boat in a certain way, and there are lights in each direction that have an array of colors, whether they be red, yellow, and green. And you have to keep the boat within the green in order for you to approach the dock in the right way. So it's a pretty cool system. The light only goes on when they're there. Can't be seen from the Fall River shore. All that's already been reviewed and approved. So this is again notifying you of this the Chapter 91 license is the next thing. They come and they file a permit for the Conservation Commission, they get that. They then have to appeal, you know, submit to DEP and a number of other regulatory authorities to get their ultimate permitting. So this is just putting you on notice of that. All Chapter 91 licenses require a signature of the chairman of the planning board and the zoning enforcement officer, who is the building inspector here in the city. So there is a form there for John to sign if you all, you know, make a motion and authorize him to sign on your behalf for that. That's all.
Any comments?
And again, you're not approving it. It goes now to Chapter 91 in DEP, probably the Army Corps of Engineers and the Coast Guard will be dealing with all of this again.
Mike?
I did a thorough review of this. We run into this quite a bit. It is a fascinating process. And
For nerds like Mike and I.
yeah, well, be honest, you know, it is kind of nerdy, but it is, they've done a thorough job of not only that, but like habitat, wetlands, the shellfish out there, and this is all outside of that area, so it's pretty safe to go ahead and sign this.
I'll make motion.
Yeah.
It's very important, so he can sign for us.
Great.
Yes.
The motion by Mario, second.
I second the motion.
Gloria? Roll call, Gloria,
Yes.
Beth,
Yes.
Mario.
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I, John Ferraro, vote yes as well.
See, these Italians can do great things, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah, that's the reason why you made the motion.
I might bring the wine over.
Next, on 10, we have approval of the minutes of the March 8, 2023 meeting. I believe that was just Gloria, myself, and Mike. You two were having surgery, so you were absent. Do I have a motion to accept that?
I make a motion to accept the minutes for,
A second.
March.
Motion by Gloria, seconded by Mike,
Yes.
and roll call, Gloria,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I, Jaffer, as well. Vote yes.
And before you adjourn, I would just like to acknowledge the hard work on Nina's behalf and Chris's, putting together the iPad program and all that. It takes, although it's easy to do this, you know, it's a lot of time that goes on behind the scenes, putting together all of the exhibits, and I think you'll all become much more comfortable over time.
Yeah.
And again, I wish we could all let you take them home so that you can do that kind of work at any time prior to a meeting, if you want to come by the office and go through it and
Well,
just
we
to
do
play
have
with
it
it
at
a
home,
little.
because she emails it all to us.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying on this
On this,
system,
yeah.
but yes, so now exactly what you see, that you get emailed to you, you'll have at your fingertips here. And again, I'm a paper guy, so Mario, I understand.
Mario didn't even open
Listen,
it.
I have mine, but what's happening is, these will be utilized for the 3 different boards that we deal with, the zoning board of appeals and the conservation commission. So, some people will use them, some people won't, but it's moving in the right direction, so I just wanted to
No, it's
acknowledge
great. I
their work.
appreciate the effort on both behalves, on Chris and
Thank you both.
Great, thank
Nina.
you.
Great job.
Thank
Okay, we even had it on TV.
I know.
You see that?
Watch
It's
it,
amazing what
that's
we can
pretty
get
good.
accomplished.
I will say
Front and
it is,
back monitors.
it is extremely helpful having the 2 plans, the old plan and
Yes, yeah,
side by side. It's-
so you're not
it's
flipping
whatever.
and.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to add some additional information in your packages, stuff that doesn't get necessarily submitted by the applicant, but just informational pieces that we'll be adding to yours. So when you scroll through there, you'll see there's a lot more information there
Yeah.
that, you know, if you needed to see an aerial view, so you can get a better idea of what's happening there, all
I
of
think
that
it's,
stuff.
I think it's great. I think
Good.
it's awesome.
That was
With
good.
that being
That was
said-
pretty quick work of that.
Can I have a
agenda.
motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Gloria?
Yes.
Mario?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Beth?
Yes.
And myself also vote yes to adjourn. Have a nice evening, everyone. Thank you for
You
coming.
also?
Thank you.